Hello. Hi, everybody. We've got people out there watching live. Welcome to the UK Table Football Show. This is our monthly little magazine to talk about the game we all love so much because we can't play the game we love so much. I am Will Hawkes. If you don't know me, if you didn't know me, hi. The first thing is, as it says down there, let us know in the comments if you're watching live so we can give you a shout out. Because the fun thing about this technology is that we can kind of go back and forth and chat. We're live on Facebook. We can engage with you. On our little show today, we've got some fantastic guests who are all ready to come on in a minute and talk about their own journey in table football. I sort of start by there's not really much news, is there? Really, there's one cool bit of news that we didn't mention it last month, but if you don't know, congratulations to John May and his wife Kieran. John May, Team GB, John May, great table football player, and they've had a baby girl, Sitara. So if you don't know that, congratulations to John May and Kieran. Slightly less fun, we got a pandemic on and we all can't play table football. I had a little look the other day to remind myself of what are, when we went out of our English national lockdown. I don't recap because it's England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland. They're all a little bit different as to who and how and what we can do and what we can't do. So just to remind you how it works at the moment, right? If you are in Tier 1, and that means you're in the Isle of Wight or Cornwall. So hi to all our viewers in the Isle of Wight and Cornwall. If you're lucky enough to be in Tier 1, you can have rule of 6 stuff. So 6 people can play table football together indoors, which is fantastic. Lucky you. If you're not in the Isle of Wight or Cornwall, then you're in Tier 2 or Tier 3. In Tier 2, indoor sports are allowed within your household or within a sport. So you can go to a pub if they have a table football table and you can play on it. But no mixing of households in Tier 2. And in Tier 3, a very high alert area, everything's shut anyway, right? The bars, the pubs, the cafes, the restaurants, the snooker clubs, the amusement arcades, the bowling alleys are closed. And so really the only way you're going to get any table football, any foosball, is if you're at home playing on your own table. There is, and this is England, there is an exception for, what are the exceptions? Indoor disability sport is allowed. Now, we don't have a wheel foos scene in the UK yet. Sport for educational purposes, i.e. schools can play sport, schools can play table football, and physical activity under 18s. So youth clubs can play table football. So if you happen to have a youth club and you want to go and start a coaching program and you want to play table football, go and get involved because that's allowed right now. And of course, if you are going to play, with any people who aren't in your household or bubble, no matter what the rules are, be sensible, right? Wear a face covering and hand washing, all the good things we know. I had a look in Wales. It's a little bit different. Sports clubs can have indoor events for up to 15 adults. The pubs and bars are open for up to 4 people. In Northern Ireland, everything's off, no mixing indoors at all. And in Scotland, I had a look at the Scottish government website and I couldn't make head or tail of what was going on in Scotland. But we do have a group who play in Edinburgh, and I hope they know the rules because I couldn't figure them out. What I did think was kind of interesting was, so there's this great big no, but in the middle of it, there's like exceptions, the youth stuff, the disability foosball, right? We've done some foosball in Stoke Mandeville in the past. So that's just an interesting thing to think about. If we can go and make things happen in places where we can't make things happen in the past. Right. That was all I really wanted to talk about. I want to get to our guests. So I wanted to bring the first show we had. You remember we had Paul Martin. Paul Martin been playing table football since the 70s when he was being taught by Brian Harms, who's been playing table football since the 50s. So Paul kind of talk us through 40 years of his time in table football. And then last month we had Jaka Diaz and Katarzyna Majowska, who just talked about what they've got as women playing table football, as volunteers making table football scenes happen. So today we've got the Darlington guys. We've got the Darlington Table Football Club with us. Everybody, the whole gang. Let's see if we can get them. Matty, can you turn your camera on? You're there, right? So welcome, Callum Oakes. Welcome, Matthew Warr. And Matty, that's not just you in the background somewhere in the house. We also, Alice is there. Hi, Alice.
Hi.
And I think at some point we're going to see Danny, and I know Darren is around. because we had a chat as well.
No, he's gone now. He's having his tea. He's buggered off.
He's gone. We were discussing whether we were going to be sweary or not, and your dad said, "I did say don't say bugger."
I'll squeeze that in there as soon as I can.
We've got 20 people watching live, by the way, and we've got 6 comments. Let's just see who's out there. If this technology is going to behave. Who's with us today? Say hi. Say hi to Mike Russell. Evening, Mike. Mike is in Chester. We got Reese Roberts is with us.
Knew that was going to be the case. Hi, Reese.
we have the legend of UK table football, Albert Ando in Brighton, dancing but not with a snake. This is someone very dear to me. None of you guys know Taha. Taha runs one of the people running table football in Korea, and many of you know I started table football in Korea when I was out there as well. We've got a fantastic group of people there. Taha, hi.
I think I've got Taha as a friend on Facebook, and I see quite a lot of his posts and stuff. So I can see he's very active.
Yeah, awesome.
Well, it is Taha. What time is it? It's 4 o'clock in the morning in Korea, but Taha never sleeps.
Oh, crikey, that's
Mike Russell giving a shout out. No forgiveness. Not giving us a heart. Oh, that's Taha. 15 people watching us. Hossein, the pride of Algeria. I miss you, Hossein. I miss your game. I hope you're well. Louise in Dublin. Have you got Norm with you? Hi, Louise. Hey, Kathy in Romania with Rich. Hi, Marshy. You all are also in Dublin with us. We've got the great Steve from Mansfield. He's not really called Ezra Poundland. He's called Steve from Mansfield. Have you got your Lion Hearts yet? Let us know.
Steve from Mansfield.
We got with us, and I'm sure that we got 15 people out there. So that's cool, right? This is the UK Table Football Show. So I'll do a little bit of an introduction of Darlington Table Football Club. You guys were junior world champions. You started playing. We'll get into this, right? You started playing as young guys, and now Callum's UK champion. You've won loads of tournaments. You're Team GB. But we're going to get into your story today. Why don't you start by sort of each of you tell us how you got into table football? That's the best way to start. I don't know who wants to go first.
I'll go first, Matty. I think yours is before mine, so.
Yeah, I'll take the reins. So it all started with it was actually one day. I'll actually start before mine because it all started with my dad and Martin Landers and whatnot. So I think they had a table. There was a table in a pub one day, and it got took out, and they were all kind of devastated because whenever they go out on the lash kind of thing, they always used to play like the pub sport, if you know, like a pub Olympics kind of thing. Darts, snooker, table football, and it got took out of this pub one day, and they were absolutely gutted that it got took out. So they had a word with the landlord, and the landlord was like, "Well, if you want to put some like money in towards it and whatnot, then we can try and keep the upkeep of it and whatnot all sorted, so you can stay in there for your lads." And they're all like, "Yeah, that's sound. We'll do that." So there's a contribution from the very get-go, and Martin's great idea one time to just have a tournament. This is before we knew about the BFA, any kind of international thing at all. It's just, you know what, it'd be a right laugh if we all put names in hats, drew them out, and just like had our own little World Cup one day. And it was at the first one was at a place called the Forum Music Centre. I don't even know if it's still there anymore, to be honest. It might have closed down now. But,
nobody knew how to play table football at all. They just put the tables in and they ran a complete beginner table football tournament.
Martin's kind of likes to organise stuff and be in charge a lot. So he was a bit like, all right, then I'll set up this tournament and we'll do it kind of thing.
It was for kids or it was for adults?
I think it was just adults. I think so. I didn't actually ever go to the first one. I wasn't part of the first one at all. But the first one went so well that they were like, "Oh, well, this is such a laugh." So I think it was during summer they did it. So in the next summer, did it again, and this time it was at a pub called the Model T, which is one of my locals just around the corner from me. And I happened to be playing on the street, just kids with a bike.
You were how old at this point?
13, yeah, 13 around, or maybe
12, 13, I reckon, somewhere around that.
Yeah, around that age. Just second year of secondary school, I'd say. Not starting it, but like second, so like year 8 in Homer's Not or something. But I was walking around the streets, around the shops and stuff, and one of the teams didn't turn up for the World Cup. and I can't remember what team it was. Was it Argentina or something? Didn't turn up. But anyway, my dad pulled me in and was like, "Matty, you're going to play in this tournament." I was like, "I don't want to play that. I know nothing about it. It's like it's crap. It's a random thing. I don't want to do it." He's like, "No, come on, you'll have fun. I'll buy you a Coke or whatever, a bag of crisps. All you got to do is play one game just so we can have the tournament."
It's a single tournament, was it, or you had to pair up?
No, it was a doubles. It was just a regular doubles one. But there's no kind of like teamwork or coordination. It's just chuck the ball in and just have a good laugh kind of thing. But I got absolutely wrecked. I don't think I scored a single goal, but that's where I'd say my first recorded game came from.
I know what's changed then.
And Callum and Alice, you were not in this tournament.
No. I might have been actually. I was at the.
I would have been about 5 years old.
Oh right, I see. Okay.
This was the one I did with Angus that time, and then he never kind of took onto it. So, but then because obviously I was hanging around you in school, Callum, quite a lot. I got you into it as well. So that's where Callum came into things. So I will pass it on to Callum now as to how.
Yeah. So what happened to you, Callum?
So it's kind of similar, really. I remember it was mostly through the league nights and stuff that we used to do. So we used to have like again through Martin and Darren, they set leagues up, and so once a month on a Friday, we'd all get together and they'd all get together and have a drink and play a few games of foosball. But obviously me and Matty we were like 13 at the time, so there was no drinking for us then. I think. Well, we'll leave that for now. So, yeah, I think
you were the only children doing it.
Yeah. So you got drafted in before me because I think you were kind of into it, and your dad was like, "Oh, well, we'll go down and do this," and then you started to get a little bit bored and asked me if I wanted to go, and it's all spiraled out of control since then, really.
Yeah, it was a bit disoriented for me at first because I was in like my I really enjoyed playing the sport, but I was in my dad's group, and my dad's group had friends that were coming into play as well. So it was just me, this 13-year-old lad, hanging out with like 40-year-old, 25-year-old blokes, if you know what I mean. So I was a bit like, "Callum, do you want to come down and give us a bit of backup kind of thing? We can play together and whatever. Just it'll be a right laugh. Just an excuse to get into a pub, I guess."
So Martin is and your dad are organising these monthly club nights, and you're playing in those, and then you've had this fun event they've just organised for everyone who's beginners. So how did you go from? And Alice, I know I'll get to you a bit later because I know you said you were 5 at the time, so we're going to do it sort of chronologically. So how did you go from that to then kind of getting exposed to proper foosball?
We held a tournament in the Coachman in Darlington 2010, and it was a proper BFA sanctioned tournament, that one that we put on. I think Martin must have got into contact with the BFA at that point and said, "We want to do something like a national kind of thing, and get more people up and all that stuff." So that was the first taste of like actual foosball, as it was, of like people playing the game as we know it now, other than us just hitting the ball quite hard and trying to score that way. And yeah, so that was my first taste of it, and after that, I think we started to seek it a bit more because it was exciting for me anyway.
Have you had the legendary Brian Harms turn up? Brian is a backpin king, and he's near to you guys. And I don't know, did he get involved as well?
Yeah, so Brian was a kind of our level up, if you know what I mean. So we had this kind of like kick around and whatever, and because I think we were quite young lads, we had better reactions than a lot of the other people that were playing with us at the time. So we ended up winning quite a lot, and then thinking we're like, absolute chads at the game, no one can beat us and whatnot. And then we drew enough attention to join Brian. So then Brian's like, "Oh, I don't want to blow me on trumpet, but I used to play for England a long time ago. I think I'm pretty good. I'd like to join you guys." And we were like, "Yeah, come on down then, it'd be a good laugh." Anyway, he backpinned the absolute crap out of us, and we didn't even know what hit us at the time. But from that, we kind of said, "Wow, so this is how you play the game then. This is what you do. You stop it. You stay stationary for quite a while, and then you just let out an almighty backpin from the back." But that's all we knew at the time. So we were just like learning as we went along. But then, as Callum said, we had another tournament at the Coachman where the likes of Rich Potts came down. Was Rob there as well? I can't remember.
Rob played doubles with Tommy B.
Yeah, Rob Arthur was there. A load of big names were there, and they were just doing the regular that we all know and love now, the snake shots, all the different types of passing and whatnot. And we were like, right, so Brian was kind of tip of the iceberg. There's so much more than just smacking it around. And then when you've got it, just be looking stationary from the back and hit it hard from the back. There's so much more to this game now. But as I said, it was just a kind of stepping stone along the way. So we get the Brian skill, right? We can do that now, and we think, oh, so there's all this to do, right? Well, we're going to do that next. That's what we're going to achieve.
And what did when you go back to school and you talk to your friends and they say, what do you do at the weekend? You say, well, I was playing in a table football. We had a table football tournament in Darlington with all the. Were your friends interested? How did that work?
It was very mixed, honestly. You get a lot of people that are like,
didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, you get people that are intrigued, like, oh, how does that work? And then you get people that are like, oh, table football, shit game that. And you get people that are like, oh wow, I'd like to try that. So I got a lot of people that came round to the garage every couple of now and just show them how it's done and whatnot. Unfortunately, it didn't take off with them quite a lot, so they're not playing as of now. But I got the interest, kind of thing. But you get very mixed reactions from it, to be honest.
And Alice, for you were little at the time. Were you in the edge of all this as well?
Yeah, no, I wasn't really playing those, Matthew.
No, not around this time. She wasn't. No, Alice, in the grand scheme of things.
I don't even think I was tall enough to look across the table.
No, I don't think you were. I think you were in Danny's situation now, weren't you, basically?
So you do tournament. You've done this tournament in Darlington, and Rob Arthur's come and a lot of UK pro players. Then did you start to go out and go to other tournaments? How did that work?
Yeah, so after the Darlington one, we sort of started to look into it a bit more, I think, and the next one we went to after that was Manchester, at the European Fireball Open, whenever that was, 2010. And it was that. Obviously, that was a massive tournament, and people like Tony were there, and because Damien was there, Rob was there, and we had like a sort of what was the Darlington tournament was mostly the British. We had people from all over the world at the Manchester one. It was a massive tournament at the time, one of the biggest in Europe at that point, I think. And that was an experience. It was kind of another leveler of like, well, we thought this was the best, and now it's kind of not. So yeah,
you got Tony Spreaderman in the room. And were you the only two 13-year-old boys, or in a room full of adults?
We were the youngest. We were the youngest people there by quite a distance. I think there were other juniors at that point. I'm not sure either of them play now. I think I remember. Is it Josh Moore and Alex Stevenson? I think their names were. Mm-hmm. They were both playing at that point, but they were like 17, 18 at the time. Obviously, we were still pretty young. So,
did you manage to get to talk to any? Did you like get Tony's autograph or anything like that?
I can't really remember, to be honest.
We got pictures, I think, whenever we went places. I've still got pictures of the first time we ever met Frederick Collingham and stuff. I've still got that.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
2012, I think it was.
Yeah.
First month we went to, luckily.
I'm a bit secretly brief because I have had a chat with Matty's dad, Darren, this afternoon as well, who wanted to sort of just tell me some stories as well. So Callum, he was telling me that Tony gave you a wrap.
He did. I remember that.
He said you didn't take the plastic off.
No, I didn't. No. Somebody had to. Obviously, quite early in my foosball career, I'm going to cover my own back and say that. So I went to the table. I was like, oh, I don't really know how this works. Just try to put it on. And the guy that I was playing against was like, "What are you doing?" Came over the table, put my wrap on for me, and then proceeded to throttle me a little bit in the game. So I was like.
Because I've played juniors, and you need those goals, right? If it's a race to 7, I'm not going to let you win. I'm not going to win 7-6 because it's goal difference counts. Well, that maybe I'm mean, right? But I imagine people weren't particularly kind to you on the table. Maybe some people.
No, not really. Not that I can remember. I think there was a room full of foos. Everybody wants to win, right? You just get treated as another competitor, and I think that's probably helpful as in terms of how my game's developed. If people had shown us some mercy, it'd have been a bit different.
The European Fireball, did you win junior singles or do you doubles? Or when did you start to win or progress in the game? Talk us through a little bit of that. And Alice as well. These are all kind of for you as well, as and when.
You want to go first, Matty? Before I
do that, we've got some people out there to shout out. David Pulcini in Manchester. We've got a shout out from Jeremy Holloway. He's a fan of your Foosball. Tell us later about Foosball U. And we have if any of you listen to the Inside Foos stuff, we have the 1990 Amateur Doubles World Champion with us, Mark Torres.
Oh.
Hi, Mark. Who have I not shouted out who's out there? At Katarzyna, I did say hi. I think that's everyone. But let's keep going. So, going to more tournaments and starting to win stuff.
Yeah, I think you were slightly better than me at that point, Maya, so I'll let you go first.
Yeah, it was all it was just constantly me and Callum just straight to the final. That's all it was, because there was no other juniors around at the time. So all it was just straight away, me, Callum, final. It was always, for like the first couple of years, like Callum said, I was taking it. But Callum was always creeping every single year. Like, I never really saw much improvement in my game, but I could always see improvement in Callum's game across the years, because he just always got closer and closer and closer. I don't think Callum ever actually won. Did you? Did you win one or not?
I never won a UK Junior Singles Championship. Not one.
Yeah. That's for the UK stuff anyway. But yeah, it's quite bland for the UK stuff. We never really got to kind of branch out and play many people. But for some of the more bigger tournaments for the UK, like the Liverpool one, we have sometimes, and back when the what was that arena called? We always used to play on Leonards and stuff.
Capital venue.
Yeah,
venue. We had big names like Bassie Youngen coming down, didn't we? And a lot of the Dutch guys would come down in a van. And I mean, I think Bassie absolutely trashed both of us. Or did you beat Bassie? I can't remember.
I beat him in one of them. I think he beat me in the. I think he doubled me in the final.
Bassie Youngen, you mentioned. I happen to have only one trophy up here in my little office, which I won with Bassie Youngen, which is the DYP third place in one of those tournaments with Bassie Youngen. Fantastic player.
Well then.
Unfortunately, the top of the cup has fallen off. Is that
why you hiding it?
I don't have big cups like you guys. Yeah, he's a great player. So that was breaking up the monopoly of Matthew Warr winning all the singles. And of course, you didn't junior doubles, you won them as well. But then I remember playing probably like about 2012, 2013 semi-pro singles. And I beat Matthew Warr, the only time I've beaten Matty. And don't know if you remember, I hacked you in the last game to win. And then I got wrecked by Callum straight afterwards, who went on to win semi-pro singles. And you were both like on your way. You went past quite rapidly.
Hacking people in the fifth is the rule. That is.
No way. I was ashamed. Yeah. Nothing. It coming.
So you were just on, from going from juniors, you're suddenly. When's the point when you start to scare the pros?
So I just want to go back a little bit. So like at the UKC's, Matty's right. There wasn't much competition, but there's sort of bits and pieces of other run-ins with juniors, but not a lot of running. So like people like I've mentioned before, like Josh Moore and Alex Stevenson. And there's a couple that when James Littlefair was playing and he was a junior, we had sort of a competition with him. I remember it was that tournament in Bath that you won, Matty, and I came third, I think.
Yeah.
If I remember right.
I remember my hair from those pictures. That were dreadful.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not a good look for either of us. Well, I don't want to go for that. But yeah, it's just sort of keeping on progressing. And I think the first sort of time I can remember getting close to any of the pros, I played Jodie when I was an amateur. And she was like, obviously Jodie is Jodie, and she was really good. I think it was 1-1 and 4-1. I might have had a shot to win the third and missed, and then she won from there. But I remember like being close, and that was a like a really good feeling. I think people were watching, and yeah, it was just sort of like it's the realization of you can actually kind of do this, like the mentally being strong enough to know you can do it and want to push yourself.
You look up to these people like a couple of years ago, didn't you? But you realize now that they're not untouchable. You're at the kind of level. You've put enough work in yourself that you should be at the point where you're both respectable kind of opponents, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
So Yeah. So you and Matty, if Callum scared Jody, who is the person you like? Hang on a minute. Is there a game you remember where you got close to someone, or you beat someone, you thought, hang on a minute, I've got there now?
There's actually one that popped to mind. Yeah. I can't remember. It was at the Capital venue again. I was playing Shovey, I remember. And I can't remember.
Alex Shovelton, not John Shovelton.
Alex Shovelton, yeah. I can't remember whether it was the losers final or something. But I can't remember game scores or anything. We're talking years ago here, like. But I remember getting really close and him coming to me at the end and being like, you know what, you played really well there. Like for someone that's your background and how long you've played and whatnot, you played really well. And that was the biggest thing for me, coming away and then taking that constructive criticism, if you know what I mean, not coming away in a big off and not being like talkative to him and kind of seeing him as like the enemy, if you know what I mean. At the end of the day, it's just a sport, isn't it? And you're there to get better. So him to come over to me and have those words and tell me how well I did against him. And I think at the time he was like UK number 2. He was up there. He was definitely like top 5 or something.
I love watching Alex Shovelton play. I would just fantastic player, so creative. You know everything, right? He's going to hit you from everywhere with everything. Let's get Alex Shovelton back. He's one of my pin-up players for sure. And so I'm just going to sort of keep just because. So you're starting to scare people in the UK. Did you go overseas as well? How did that work?
So we went to I can't remember. I think our first kind of big tournament was Nantes when we were in the juniors for the UK, because obviously there wasn't any other juniors, so we qualified for them straight away. So to then go over to our first Nantes and whatnot and just see the difference in quality from everyone there, not just from the men, but from the juniors over there as well. You had players, like I said before, like Bassi. You had Jeffrey Swinkles at the time. Twan, current men's world champion, was in juniors with us as well.
Looking back at our junior field, our junior field was pretty rough. Looking back here, really, like.
Because at some point I'm sort of trying to pace it up, building up to 2014, 2015 when we're standing on top of the podium in Salzburg.
2013, I think, the first one.
2013, the first one. Do you want to go there?
Can do.
What happened? How'd that work?
We are notoriously bad at playing in mornings, starting slowly. We qualified horrendously badly.
This is Garlando Worlds 20.
Garlando Worlds 2013, yeah, and
Salzburg,
yeah. So we qualified like probably second last out of all the junior teams. So first round 1, we had to play two Czech guys, and they just won rookie doubles at the time when there was sort of different ranking events in the World Championships. There's like rookie, semi-pro, and pro, and even winning rookie doubles with a field of like 200 or 300 teams was ridiculous, and we were like, well, this is going to go well, isn't it? Started one where I think I started in defense and you started up front. We got trashed in the first game, swapped, and then we won the next 3 games pretty comfortably. And then after that, I think we just went on a bit of a run and ended up playing Felix and Thomas Schmidt in the semis, to then play Nico Dasher and Lucas Zahn in the final. I think after we played the semis, like against like Felix, who's ridiculously good anyway, and seeing that they'd beaten Bassi and Kai in the semis, we were like, well, we got a decent chance here, and ended up taking it home.
So the your dad, not dad, Darren told me some of the story earlier today. Apparently, as a coach, he doesn't feed you in tournaments until you win.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he kind of gives us like a bit of a race dog treatment. You know how they don't feed the greyhounds before the race. So if they're not hungry, they won't chase that rabbit, will they? Or that kind of metaphorical carrot dangling in front of them. So that was the intention. Keep us hungry. For victory.
Yeah. And when people say you had a hunger to win, you actually were hungry.
It was literal. We were.
And so you completely dumped the qualification round. I think you almost won only your last game just to get through, and then you beat the people who won rookie doubles, and you just stomped all over everyone. And one of the things you mentioned in there, Callum, is you mentioned swapping, and I know everyone who knows when you play Matty and Callum, the swapping is lethal. You're not like one of you plays at the front. I've seen you score, you swap, you score, you swap, you go back and forth, and it's completely destructive for other teams, and it's such a strength. How's that work?
I like to think that it's something that we've actually built upon massively in our games, because whenever we first started off, it was just me up front, and that was it. Callum at back, and that was it. Callum had a really good shot from the back, and I mean, my passing still is atrocious, but I had a really good snare at the time as well. So it was like a combination. For juniors, it was kind of enough as well. So with a really good snake and a really good shot from the back, it'd see us through most games. But now that the game's a lot more technical on from juniors, Callum plays a lot more up front due to his technicality on the 5-bar, and also his really good shooting as well. And my defence and my ability to clear it from the back is very useful at the back as well. But the ability to swap at the same time, like you said, Will, it's quite destructive to a lot of other teams' mindsets. Like, I'm not at back because I can't do anything up front, if you know what I mean. It's kind of our plan A. And if plan A isn't working, we'll swap to plan B. But then all of a sudden we can swap back to plan A again, and it just leaves people in tatters sometimes. And
having been playing together since you're 13, your knowledge of each other's games and your trust in each other must be, more than most double teams.
We kind of just have that click every now and again. So based on who we're playing, we'll just kind of look at each other, if you know what I mean, and straight away we'll just be like, right, yeah, Callum, you go up front this time. Like, we don't even kind of like need to like really talk about it. We'll just like look at each other and just be like, yeah, and the swap initiates, if you know what I mean. And
so you won the World Championship. How did you feel at that point?
Pretty good, I reckon.
Yeah, it was all right.
I think it was a very weird feeling. Like, it's strange to think about. It's something you work towards. You want to achieve from the minute you start playing. So, like, to be able to do it not that long after we started playing, really, was it like 3 years after we started? We were winning world championships and stuff. It was it's kind of surreal. And getting like knowing what we'd done and getting the sort of plaudits from people like from people like Rob and Chevy and other people. It's hard to describe, really. Might help.
If you want an actual in the moment at the exact time feeling, Callum hit a middle to win because his arms were so like jelly that he couldn't. I
didn't trust myself to hit anything other than straight, so I waited for like 20 seconds until it opened, and then eventually it was there.
Pretty much all of my body weight was on my rods. I had no feeling in my feet, pretty much, because I was just gritting my teeth and just like, Callum, put it away, just put it away, man.
Wow. And then, I mean, your dad was telling me earlier, Matty, how, and actually, him and Mel, Callum's dad, just watching you both on the podium, and it's one of the things in the background of my mind is, your dads and your mums and all the people around you supported you, and then your dedication and passion in this game together ended up with you guys becoming world junior champions, which has a massive impact on your lives, on their lives, and it's just, you've all worked so hard to achieve this. And I suspect it made a big difference. How when you go back to school on Monday and you say, how did they go? World junior champion. How did you feel? And what was the news like in Darlington? By the way, guys, if you don't know Mark watching in California, Darlington isn't London or Leeds or Newcastle. You're not a big city, right? It's a town.
Yeah.
How did that go down in Darlington?
Suddenly, all the people that sort of thought it was a bit of a mick take started to listen, I think. All the achievements and stuff, and a bit of media attention, and people didn't see us as like this sort of throwaway kind of mess about on a weekend anymore. It was sort of like, oh, these guys are good. They know what they're doing.
Yep.
My mum still has the Echo cutouts, from the papers and whatnot. So whenever we used to be in the papers, we actually had to carry a table across the street because we had this guy coming down from the Northern Echo, which is the paper up here, and he wanted a better backdrop than the garage, and we were like, "Oh, just do it in the garage, man. What's wrong with this? You got all the like trophies and whatnot. It's just to be a good fitting." He's like, "No, I want a bit of more of like a natural vibe." So we had to carry the table across the street onto this like grass patch. It must have been a good 100 meters that he wanted it. Just to take of like a forest backdrop and whatnot at the time. So
we've got a few questions coming in. I'm gonna just jump around. Let's see. Uzi Ahmed, I haven't said hi to Uzi in Manchester. Hi Uzi. We've got a question for you, Callum, from Kati in Romania. What was your best mixed tournament?
Well, I think he knows what I'm going to say. I'm gonna say it was the ETO last year.
European Tornado Open, 250 people jammed into a small place in London.
I will explain. So with a lot of our friends that we talk to sort of week in, week out, Rich and Catty and Lynn and Marion, people like that, all on my side of the bracket. So when they had who did they have last week? They had Midori on their chat show, the Lynn and Catty show, twitch.tv/InsideFoos. They had Midori on there, and they were talking about playing with boyfriends and girlfriends or your partners in mixed. And I wanted to ask the question about the ETO because I'd beaten all of them in that tournament, and I thought that was funny. But they didn't think it was so funny. So I think round one, we played Lynn and Toby. And then round two, we played Mariam and Tommy. Round three, we played Rich and Catty. And it's sort of been a running joke since then. So
that's where you got the question. Who else is here? Mike Russell says he's got Alex Shovelton's old table. Reese Roberts is saying let's get the whole group back. Alex Shovelton. So it's Shovey and Shovo. Paddy Grover, David Morgan, John. I would love to, right? I mean, one of these shows, we'll go and get like the guys from the forum in 2005, the people who are in Oxford University colleges where they had 4 foosball teams for each college. We'll get that generation and tell us what it was like. Mike Russell says John Worthington comes to his local competitions sometimes in Chester. Hey, we've got Brian Harms. Hi, Brian. Respect. First played Matty, Callum, Darren and Martin in Model T Pub. Do you guys remember this?
Yeah. Yeah, it was one of the World Cups, right?
Yeah, I think this is what I was talking about earlier, how when Brian first ever came down, he kind of trounced us at first, but eventually we got kind of wise to it, if you know what I mean. So, by the way, talk after all this pandemic's all said and done and whatnot. Nice to hear from you, mate.
We'll get Brian on the show. Brian's been playing since the 50s, I think. We'll have to. Well, you still got your first table in the garage somewhere. And we have Alice. I know we haven't talked. We have a question from Kat to you. Hey, Will, ask Alice about her experiences. Let's do Alice. Alice, tell us a bit about because you've got your brother and your dad and so on. But somehow this happened to you as well. You got into table football. What's your journey?
Just basically off Matthew and Callum, really, and my dad. I think I came in for a mess around one time, didn't I? And then it just turned into like actually playing. And then when I went to Austria once, I realised that I actually really did like it. And well, I realised that wasn't very good when I went though.
I think some of it was kind of like jokingly to start off with. Yeah. So if it was kind of like, Alice, if you score a goal past me, I'll give you a $5. Yeah. That kind of thing.
And I literally could never do it.
Because I mean, I hope some of you know how good Alice is. Those who know, Alice is really good, guys. Alice is awesome. Alice, are you still a junior, right?
Yeah, I'm not 18 till March.
Because the World Cup isn't happening in 2021. We're really hoping 2022. We're going to have to lobby that they do under 19s, not under 18s, because they're doing junior women's singles, aren't they? Junior girls.
Yeah, I reckon it'd be really unfair for her if that was the case, because she's missed out there. It's not really any kind of her fault, is it? So
we'll talk, right? The BFA is going to lobby on your behalf. We'll talk. So Alice, tell us about, so you're playing with your dad and Callum and your brother. So did you go to tournaments? What happened next? Did you learn a snake? What?
My first tournament was probably that one in Darlington. What year was that?
The second one.
No, the one in Cockett and Club.
Oh, the one that big,
Richmond.
yeah, the one.
It's autumn 2016. I was the tournament.
Yeah, I think that was my first ever.
Why Richmond? You had to get that in there, didn't you?
Yeah. You beat
You played with your friend Holly. Is that right?
No, I played with Sophie.
No, Sophie. Yeah, it was Sophie Landers.
Landers.
Sophie Landers, Matt.
Yeah, and I think we came second in women's doubles because we got beat by Yaka and Christina. That's right. Yeah.
And when did you realise then that it was you liked it, but you were actually good at it as well? Did you have some tournament results where you think, hang on a minute, this is?
Yeah, that was probably when I realised that I wanted to actually start playing after that tournament.
Are you the UK women's champion at the moment? I can't remember what.
No, it's Louise, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's Louise.
But you've certainly won ITSF tournaments, right?
Yeah.
And tournament.
I think my last one that I won was the Tornado one in 2019.
French lady, didn't you?
Funny,
yeah, funny something.
And then beat Mariam. So that was really impressive.
Mariam Ali, who's just Mariam joined some of our shows. Don't know if you're out there, Mariam.
She'll love that.
So I wanted to, for all of you really, what's the impact? Because this is Will's thing about getting juniors involved in foosball, right? Somehow it doesn't happen without your mums and dads saying, yes, you can go away. Yes, you can spend the money on it. Yes, you can not, put your homework aside and go to that thing in Liverpool or Manchester or London or Austria, wherever. So, and I know Darren Warr has been the coach specifically, but also your dad, Callum, Mel. Let's talk a bit about the role they've played in getting you guys to be where you've all got to.
I think the key factor for our dads was their overcompetitiveness. They love to not only win themselves but see their sons win, if you know what I mean. So a lot of it is, say if it's cold, it's always cold up in Darlin. It's always freezing, it's always raining, it's horrible. But a lot of it will be, so it's that kind of weather. Matty, we're going to go in the garage. I'm like, I don't really want to. So he's like, yeah, but then he'd kind of taught me and said, oh, I guess I'm better than you then. Just little things like that, if you know what I mean. And that got me in at the time. So just, always that kind of motivation, always being there. Always more so than anything, giving us that platform and that chance. It's not just about the money and whatnot, if you know what I mean, but the faith and the commitment of buying the equipment, the tables, the wraps at the time, if you know what I mean. And the alcohol as well.
And always, I played that Fireball tournament you mentioned that Tony Spraderman came to. I was playing your dad in a game when you two were playing junior singles final, and he wouldn't play against me because he kept disappearing off to look over there and see what was going on. Because he's always standing at the end of a table. The only problem is if Matty and Alice are both playing, he's got to kind of pick one of you to go and stand at the end because he's with you all the time, right? He's just a brilliant supporter like that.
I think it'd count more towards who's playing the bigger name, if you know what I mean. So if Alice is in the final of the women's, but I'm just doing I don't know, the quarters against any other GB player, he'd much rather watch Alice at the time. But no, my dad has actually thrown quite a lot of games because he wanted to watch us instead. So there's a lot of games when it's been really close with him. He's he's 4-4 in the first of 7. And I watched him once. I think he actually smacked it back in his own goal and made it look like it was an accident. He was just like, "Yeah, thanks." Then and walked away.
But what? I mean, having spoken to your dad today about it, what's great about him and Mel, Callum, your dad? They're both football background, right? They did lots of football, and they are coaches in their mindset. They've got a coaching mindset, and they've brought that, even though they don't necessarily have the technical skills on how to get the brush pass right and how to read the defense, but they're with you. He told me there's one of the tournaments where they gave you both a complete bollocking because you got no energy, and there's some story, Callum, with you when your dad took you aside and gave you a pep talk, and suddenly all the magic came along.
Yeah, well, Dad definitely doesn't have the technical skill to do any of that, but it's definitely, it was nice having him there. Obviously, he's given us it's nice to. When you get involved in something, for them to be right there with you with it and offer you as Matty said, offer you the chances to go to all these places and do the things that you love. And now, obviously, we can do it ourselves now. And it's kind of we just go sit in a car or get on a plane and play. And they did all the organising, booked all the stuff, flights, hotels, did all the logistics. But we just sort of tagged along, and it's sort of their hard work it's helped us to where we are now, really.
So my sort of question to everyone watching is, if we're going to go and take table football from, and this is not just UK, by the way, this is everyone around. If we're going to take table football from this niche thing, you got to take it out to the kids and the young people, and you got to get the parents involved. There's a great, at some point I'll stick it up on the BFA Facebook page. There's a video of a kids tournament in China, and the thing is, around the tables there are probably 150 mums watching, because the mums are in. If the mums are there, I mean, we talked about your dads, but actually somewhere in the background, your mums were there saying, "Yeah, sure, go away that weekend, leave me mum at home, whatever." But the mums had to support it too. So to get this on to juniors and young people, we've got to get the parents and adults and volunteers, all you lovely people watching. We've all got a role to play in taking this out to other people. I'm going to stop evangelizing. We've got some other people to say. Dave Zeman has popped up. Dave Zeman, have you touched the foosball table since March? Because when I last spoke to you hadn't. Or have you just been touching Facebook and talking COVID? Katharina has a question for you, Callum. Is it your natural ginger, or is it bleached?
It's bleached. I'm not naturally ginger. I will say that now. I'll say nothing more about it.
And a question, Matty, for you from Kat. The Food for You tutorials.
Oh yeah, my YouTube channel. Oh well, I haven't touched that in years, man. So my video editor called Jack Elliott, who he takes a bit of interest in the sport himself, but he's not in the kind of position to wants to take any kind of seriousness. But I just pitched the idea to him one day that we should, if we're going to do this, just have a bit of a whack around in the garage, we should record it and try and get out there a bit more and make a bit of money on the side from it and whatnot. And what better platform than YouTube to do that? So I think the reason we kind of stopped was he moved down to London. I think there was something family-wise. This is years ago. We're talking here. We're talking 4 or 5 years ago. He moved down to London. He's back in Darlow now, so it's definitely a possibility we could do it. It's more so just ideas. I think the well kind of ran dry a bit because we did all the different shots and whatnot, and
run out of things to do.
Yeah, so we never really kind of gauged any interest of video and live games at tournaments and whatnot. It was a bit too much I wouldn't say too much effort, but Jack wasn't too bothered about us coming, and I didn't have the technological kind of expertise or equipment at the time to record games and try and get them up on YouTube and whatnot. So Jack was our editor, but it's definitely a possibility. It could come back.
I've actually live. We've managed to get one of these things. This is on the screen.
Which one?
To capture a screen. It's not showing. The screen sharing is not behaving. Damn it!
Oh, it's a fantastic. If you want to see the progression of Matty's haircut, it's a fantastic.
That's really annoying.
A lot of these videos, I'm actually wearing my school uniform as well. We literally just come home and he just start recording on one of his flip cameras, and he just edit it a bit and upload it to YouTube.
There you go. Look, there we go. Here we go. Right, how to wrench.
Oh, wrench!
Fantastic.
Right, let's go from the beginning, guys. This is Foos for You.
If you see a push wrench, I'll be amazed.
Foos for You.
I'm pretty sure that
Foos for You.
The wrench.
Get this down. Is the sound working or not?
Kind of.
I haven't watched these in years.
You're wearing mum slippers.
It holds all the same fundamentals as a snake. You can still move it around, look for a gap where the opponent's man is, still go push and pull, or down the middle if he's leaving you in.
I'll spare you all of it.
Very popular wrench. Very popular wrench. Everybody shoots nowadays.
For our international players, could someone explain what the wrench is?
Yeah, go on, Mike.
Well, it's very. Yeah, I think my dad shoots this the most in the country rather than anyone else. It's very, very similar to a snake, except it's quite open-handed and you actually let go of the rod and catch it again. That's how I do it anyway. I think there's a lot of variations of the wrench, but similar gaps and fundamentals of it. But
it's a wrist flip, isn't it?
Wrist.
Rob Moss was the famous master of the wrench, and Andre Russell Gebbert tells me that he invented the name. So the father of the wrench, at least in name. So we've got some other comments coming in. Kat's also a fan of your tutorials. Yeah, do more of them. I think they were cool. You got quite a lot of people following you, didn't you?
I think we have around 5k subs, which was not bad. I think our my snake shot video has around 200k views as well.
Well, that's better than the BFA YouTube page. It's got 3 subscribers because we haven't really done much with it. So maybe you need to help us do the YouTube page, Matty. In my plea to everybody to volunteer to grow UK table football, we need someone to do cool stuff on YouTube. That could be you.
Possibly.
And Kat says she can wrench too, but different from Matty. We're gonna watch a bit of foosball a little bit later on. I've got some, but we kind of got. I want to know a bit more about your adult achievements, right? Because we've done the junior stuff. Have you done anything in the men's category and the women's categories, guys?
Not so much. Really. Yeah, not so much abroad. It's just been the odd. I mean, Callum mops up most silverware any kind of tournament now. the car's absolutely rammed full. But I mean, Alice is always taking juniors now because there's not many juniors. She's always on podium for women's and whatnot in both doubles and singles. Me and Callum have an absolutely notorious record for finishing second in every single open doubles we play. We have never won an open doubles together yet, but
you get so close as well.
Yeah, frustratingly close. But yeah, as I said, Callum kind of mops up everything in singles and most of the time, with me finishing like second or third quite a lot.
Callum, you're the reigning UK singles champion, aren't you? Men's.
I am. Yeah, I think it might have been different if we had actually had a tournament this year, but yeah, the quality of the foosball scene in the UK is definitely getting there. Having watched loads of old stuff in the pandemic, from what it used to be into now, the quality is so much superior. But yeah, there's any tournament, there's any one of a few people that can win from the UK. There's in Challenger Tour, I think we had 4 or 5 different winners. I know Rich won one, Steve won one, I won a couple, and there was other people that did good things as well. So yeah, winning the tournament was it was definitely a step forward, but it wasn't my goal going in. I just wanted to qualify. That's all I wanted to do from that. Obviously winning it was a bonus, but qualification was the goal in before the tournament started.
So the World Cup is nice to touch on that. I think you were all 3 of you were playing in Team GB. Alice, do you want to tell us a bit about Team GB Women's? How was that for you in Spain?
I mean, it was quite hard. I think we beat Belgium this last year, but considering we lost to them the World Cup before in Hamburg, so that was quite good, seeing as though we beat them last year.
I was watching that game. That was fantastic.
Yeah, fantastic. But then we lost to Germany after that.
You scored quite a lot of goals on the back of it.
Germany.
Alice, you were playing the juniors, weren't you? Were you the only girl playing juniors, or were there others as well?
No, there was a few others. I think there was an Austrian girl, and there was Sully Rue from America as well.
How did you find it?
The juniors was a lot harder, I thought, because obviously there's boys in the juniors, and I got hammered by the boys. Yeah, that was what.
Catty has a question for you, Alice. Are you planning on playing any more international tournaments?
Yes, definitely.
Once the L's start going ahead again, definitely. We're eager to get out there, to be honest.
Catty, you got to help Alice find some good partners to play with. Mike Russell quoting out as an influencer.
Oh, no, good stuff.
Reese reminding us that the great Judge Singh, Judge, one of the great UK players, not living in the US, I think now. Fantastic player. Used to shoot the red. Judge shot everything.
Miss Judge.
What else? Should we watch some foosball for a bit? If I can get it to work. We've got here, guys. This is and it's thanks firstly to JP Thompson, who filmed the final of the London Open. This is the one in Twickenham, Garlando, 2017, December 2017, and this is the Open singles final.
Callum looks well happy.
Yeah.
So let's see if I can get this to work. Do you know, sort of introduce this tournament to us? We've got about 16 minutes of foosball to watch. It'd be good to. This is the finals. How did you both get there? Before I press go, if you remember this one.
So, I think we had quite tough runs actually getting to the final. Well, you would for any tournament getting to the final, really. But if I remember it correctly, I had a very British run to try and get there. I think in the quarters I beat Chris, and in the semi I had to beat Rich, and then in the final I had Callum. So I had to go through all of Team GB to get to that final. I think Callum, you had a very foreign run, didn't you?
Yeah, I definitely had Pascal Felber and Patrick in the semis, so I can't remember what I played in the quarters.
Well, this is a. Hopefully we can see it now. So this is the fifth game. It's 2-2. I mean, when you guys are playing singles, you've played so many times before. How does it work?
It's a coin flip, really, most of the time. I think there's definitely no one on earth that knows my game better than Matty. So doing sort of the normal thing is you just can't. It just doesn't work.
Mm.
So
I think you'll see quite a lot in this game if you watch it all the way through as well. I do quite a lot of pin shots, which I don't regularly do, but in the quarters and I think in the semis as well, I was using my pin shot quite effectively. I was quite a high percentage with them, which was unusual. But if it's working, don't change it, would you? But when I come up against Callum, he just brick walled me completely. There was just this massive mental block of what am I going to shoot now? My kind of prime shot I've been shooting all tournaments being taken away from me. So
those of us who played Matty know that Matty's snake is super fast. You know, for a period of time you never shot it more than a second, but it didn't matter because it went in bang, bang, bang.
Windkill missed it.
But I guess Callum probably knows how to time it and block it a bit more than the rest of us.
You'd think.
Although Alice, I got to praise a little bit of Alice's game. Alice, you've got a phenomenal snake, and Alice has got you got a great shot from the back as well. But Darren's still got the best snake shot in the Warr family.
No, he doesn't.
He does.
What makes you say that?
Well, because I can't bloody stop it. It's unbelievable. I got wrecked by it in the last tournament.
How many trophies does it win?
Well, his fighter may not have won him so many trophies, but it's a great snake shot. But when he's played with Dave Z, he won the DYP, right? In the last tournament.
Against me in the final.
You lost your dad in the final. So I did get him a trophy then.
I know, and I remember everyone saying to me, who do you want to win?
Yeah, I wanted him to win.
Mike Russell reminding us that this tournament, he transported the tables. And I remember you did that, Mike, with Paul Martin. Yeah, anyone organising tournaments and stairs, just never. So we've got here, Callum's up. I don't know if people are watching this. Callum's up 1-0. Do you want to talk a bit about what you're seeing, what might be going on in your heads while you're playing this, guys?
I remember one thing that was going on was, what is this music in the background? I think the worst song I've ever heard in my life was playing whilst me and Callum were sweating from every single pore in our body. And it was I remember taking a time out and just looking at it and thinking, what is this we're listening to right now?
I haven't quite figured out how to get Chrome to put the music into StreamYard yet, so we're being spared it.
Thank God.
That is a positive.
Callum's just scored, and we're going to time out. Let's see if I can jump ahead a bit.
So Callum's 2-0 up at this point, is he?
2-0 up. And had you both been in the final before of these tournaments?
Well, I'd been in a few finals before, and then I had a big run of making finals and then losing. So I think I made like 3 or 4 finals in a row and ended up losing to Steve and Rich and whoever else. And then
that was a Matty Warr snake shot. That's the patented bang. I got the ball. 0.5 a second. Shake, bang.
I think the tournament before this one was a tournament in Salford, and I managed to win my first OS. It was kind of a bit of a weight off the shoulders, really.
So you'd won one. Matty, had you won one at this point or not?
No, I hadn't.
Have to find out what happens later on then. Oh, blocked. I mean, one of the things I watched some of the earlier, you've both got a very, what I call a UK Garlando game. So it's, you're gonna smack it on the 5 if you see a chance. You're gonna be creative with pin shots. You're gonna mix things up. It's not like a German just doing the same thing all the time.
Yeah, I think that's kind of one thing why me and Callum counter each other quite well.
Because look at that pin shot.
That was a bit. Looking at it now, it's not as clean as I thought it was.
Yeah, I think our standard and quality of like actual technical performance in games has come on a lot since this, which is a good thing. Because you still, I mean, at the time we probably looked at this and thought it was hot shit, but I mean, now we look at it and think it's a bit scrappy. We're so much better than this now. So there's always room for improvement, no matter how good you think you are, really.
I think one of the things about for people who aren't in the UK or watching, UK is like a 50% Garlando, 50% Tornado country, but we play everything else as well, right? We've done loads of Leonhardt tournaments. We've got a Bonzini scene, but in our tournaments we either do Garlando or Tornado. People say everyone wants to play on Tornado, but actually my thing is Garlando is really hard to play on. It's so difficult to do. Thus, if you're good at it, which you guys are, you can really dominate in a way that, because a lot of people have got a bit of a Tornado game. A lot of people don't have a Garlando game because it's just weird.
Yeah, I think that's one aspect we were quite lucky on when we were growing up, was the fact that we were kind of homebred on Garlando tables. So I think, like you said, Will, a game you can take onto Tornado from Garlando is a lot easier than if we were brought up on Tornado and then shown Garlando. We'd be a lot more like, what is this table?
There's some video of Terry Moore on a Garlando. It's on YouTube somewhere. The great Terry Moore from California with the snake shot. Just the degree of disgust as he tries to play in the Garlando.
Yeah, I don't think there's many Americans that have come over and won stuff in Europe. I think there are a couple of exceptions, but
there's a Billy Pappas exception.
And Tony as well now. The Leonhardt World Champion still.
Yeah, not on Garlando. Tony's not on Garlando. Billy.
I think it's probably the only other one, but
Ryan won Roberto Sport once.
Yeah, that's true. Todd had Fred for company in doubles. So,
and Billy won P4P just after he won the poker thing.
Yeah.
You got a timeout. So what are we going? It's 3-2. So Callum was up 3-0. Yeah, 3-2.
I don't think it was at 3-0.
If you look in the background, you can see both our dads and Alice as well, both pints in hand.
Not me.
Is that not you?
No, that is me. Yeah, I'm not drinking, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
So we got, at this point, Callum just going back. That's 4-2 up. Callum just needs to score one more goal and you're the champion of this tournament.
Strokes it home.
Yeah. Stroke it home.
Up into the air and off the table.
Like a confident swan.
So mentally, how would you, rather than describing yourselves, how would you describe Matty and Callum each other? What's going on in the other person's brain when they're playing foosball?
I know that Callum can be really, really stubborn sometimes. Like, I know I try and mix it up quite a lot, but he's always kind of in front of me, if you know what I mean. Like, I think he knows that if something doesn't work, he knows that the next thing I'm going to do is going to be something different, if you know what I mean. But then in my head, it can be a bit like, oh, well, it might be a double bluff. So I'll do the same thing, but it's just, he's always kind of in front of me. So I'd say, especially 5-bar wise anyway, for D.
We've been through this, mate. The amount of times I've tried, when I watch give you 5-bar reading tips and whatever. Yeah, it's I don't know, because it's tough to read your 3-bar, definitely. It's like if you just guess and don't read it. I'm not saying that you do that all the time. I'm not like trying to like belittle you or anything, but like if you just get in it and going, there's no way I'm gonna know what you're gonna hit. So most of the time, if you do that, you can just beat me to stuff.
I remember playing against. I don't know if it was you. I'm not sure, but there was. I remember one time I was in an absolute mental block against someone, and I remember actually it was pin snake, and he must have saved the last like 8 snake shots in a row against me. And I remember closing my eyes. And saying, "Wherever it goes, it goes." But you're not reading me and seeing where I think this is going to go, if you know what I mean. And I think I remember I scored it. So there were a lot of things that raced through my mind, to be honest. But a lot of it is situational. I think a lot of different things, but it's all kind of situational to where I am at that point, what the game's and whatnot.
Matty, I mean, my experience of you is you're like the most phenomenal momentum player. If you get hot, it's going to be like, bang, bang. Suddenly the guy scored 15 goals in 3 minutes.
I think that's what me and Callum I think that's why we work so well together, like our chemistry, if you know what I mean. Like Callum's a really cool kind of slow player, and when Callum gets in the mode of things, you're not like 100 miles an hour, are you, Callum? You're just at your own pace, pass snake. Whereas me, if I'm winning by a little bit and I have the advantage, I'll just keep the pressure on, if you know what I mean. Lovely lucky goal there, by the way.
Well, let's get again, because I was about to say, Callum, you're famous for your cool demeanour and not actually getting frustrated. Is it going here? Yeah, but this is a rare moment where you get a bit of.
Never mind.
So, Callum, you're also the captain of Team GB at the moment, aren't you? We didn't talk about the some of that,
yes.
the Team GB stuff. Oh, down the middle, 5-4. So just while we're watching this, tell us a bit about Team GB, Callum, and how's that been for you? Well, for both of you guys.
Well, I don't know about for Matty. I'm assuming it's the same for him. But again, when we started playing, and we knew there was a national team for stuff, and it was just trying to get into it really. And like the first time we did, we were 14 to 15. Maybe at the
teams out, or you managed to find some other juniors to do it?
No, I mean the men's team. Okay. Oh, the juniors.
You played for the men's when you were juniors, did you?
Yeah. So the first couple, when we went to Nantes the first time, we had a couple of juniors. We had Joe Hamilton's sister, Lexi. She played, and what's the guy's name? His name was Ben. Obviously, we weren't expected to do many good things because it's sort of me and Matty and then 2 people that hadn't played that much. And then sort of the next couple of years, we especially we got the experience. First time we went to the Garlando Worlds and Rob asked us to play. We were playing the nose against some of the bigger hitters. And that was definitely a step up in quality from juniors and a bit of a crash course in international foosball, as it were.
5-5 now. We go up to 8. You got blocked there, Matty. What time is it? So, Matty, you haven't won a UK tournament singles at this point.
No.
What's going to be? Are you going to be stressing? Or are you going to be just fighting? No,
just always fighting. No matter how far behind you are, if you know what I mean. There's every ball's different. You just got to keep going. Whether it's 5-5 like it is now, or you're 4-1 down in the 5th, you know what I mean. It's all situational. You've got to just play the ball, just keep going.
I think World Championship number 2 was probably
oh yeah, prime
example. That one. To tell us about
that. So we got to the final. Obviously, we were coming back and we were defending champions at that point. It's a different kind of pressure. So that we come in, we do well in qualifying for a change. We won all of our games, and then sort of make our way through the bracket and end up coming to the final, playing the team that finished. Like, I think they were higher than us in the qualifying on like goal difference or something. Obviously, we made it to the final in the brackets. Yeah, get into the game. First 2 games, lost them both. 4-2 down in the third. Managed to just about scrape it and win 5-4. We just about managed to scrape the 4th game 5-4, and then I think that just fell apart a bit mentally, and we won the 5th 5-0. It was just like
with the last goal being an own goal as well.
I was sort of like, he was tic-tacking it at the back, and I was like, I just went through my head, like, he's going to score an own goal here. I can just see it happening. He sort of tried a rolling pull shot and a winning by behind the back of his man, sort of like a kind of an anticlimactic way to win a world championship, really.
And but you'd already done it before, so you had the the experience of having been there and having won it.
Yeah, it was definitely a massive benefit having the past experience of doing it the year before. I think if they'd have, well, they only needed one more goal, and they would have won. I don't know. I can't really remember what happened in the games.
We're at 7-6 in this one, by the way. Just and I think also in singles, you both got to the finals of junior singles as well, didn't you? In was it North that you're in?
Mm.
Yeah, yours was first. I'll let you go first, mate.
Yeah, so mine was in Nantes. I'm not sure if it was our 2nd or our 3rd year there. I can't really remember. But just a similar story to the last one. Just had a really good qualifying game and just took every game as it came, really. I think I played a Spanish bloke, and then an Italian, and then I can't really remember the one, to be honest. But I remember it was Thomas Schmidt in the final for me. But I had never really played on a Leonard before, so I was at a massive disadvantage. Just everything about the table I just despised at the time. I don't mind Leonard now; it's quite a fun table to play on, I think. But at the time, when like you're not getting that much practice in on it, and you only can really warm up when you're in between games when you're not playing. So yeah, he'd obviously played a lot more Galando than I had played Leonard, so I think he just had the advantage in that kind of aspect. But it was a phenomenal experience, to be honest. I mean, a lot of people probably won't know what it looks like, but with the setup of Nantes, you have the main stage in the middle, don't you, where all the finals play, and then you have the 2 side stages where all the juniors and all the women and whatnot play on the other sides. And to be in one of those side ones with your game up on the big screen, if you know what I mean, and have Team GB behind you rooting while he's got the German team behind him, and every time a goal goes in, everyone's shouting behind you or shouting the other side, if you know what I mean. It's quite an experience to have, really.
Wow. And in the end, Thomas Schmidt nicked it in the 5th, did he?
Yeah, I think it was 5-3. Not 100%, but I think what the deciding thing is that on Leonard he had a pass, whereas I just kind of crumbled on there. 90% of my 5 by action was hacks, so I think he worked me out, to be honest.
And then 2 years later, Callum, it was your turn.
Yeah, I didn't qualify so well. I think I qualified bang last out of the people that could qualify. I had the rank 1 qualifier first game. I think it was a Portuguese guy on Bobby Sport. That was tough because those tables are awful. Managed to get through that. I think I won 3-1. And then, like, moving further on, like, people that obviously were juniors then and are, like, very, very good players now. People like, I beat Szymon Varos in the semis. And he's, like, a phenomenal player in Slovakia now. And then obviously play Marvin in the final. Marvin, who beat Thomas Haas in the other semi, was like sort of star-studded lineup now of.
2 years later, Marvin was the world doubles champion and Thomas was world singles champion.
Exactly. So we played Marvin in the final. I went 2-0 down, obviously, because I'm making a habit of that. Going back to 2-2, I think I had a shot to win it 4-3, which I missed, obviously. And then Marvin got the next 3 and won 6-4. So I was like a bit disappointed at the time, but seeing what he's done since is.
I was there just watching over your shoulder as well, and it was, it wasn't like he was ahead of you, or you were just slugging it out goal by goal by goal by goal all the way to the end. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, I just couldn't quite put it away.
Mentally, if you're 2 down, and you mentioned that you often find yourselves two down, you still get back and you go and win it. What's going on in your mind? Why aren't you putting up the white flag like some people do?
I think it's tough to say. Like, it might just be something that we're born with. I don't know. It's you can't go all the way to a World Championship final and just bow out and not give everything. I don't know whether Marvin was a bit nervous as well and his game slipped, but I remember the first couple of games being close anyway, and you've got to keep yourself going. You can't you can't disengage with what you're doing, otherwise you're just going to get smashed. So keeping mentally alive is one of the bigger things to do with any tournament, really, not let alone board finals or whatever. Being able to have a constant focus and a game plan and stick to whatever you're doing is one of the big things. Like, everybody in the room can physically do the same as everyone else. Everyone's got passes, everyone's got snakes, everyone can shoot, people can do it slightly better, but largely the skill set's the same. It's just some people can do it better than others under pressure and are more consistent, and those people are going to win tournaments. It's as simple as that, really.
So a good tip for all of us. We all know that foosball is, in the end, it's inside your head. Alice, we've got a question for you. Dave Z. Did you get to play against Sullivan Rue?
I didn't know.
I think she was into, though. She really wanted to test
to
it.
see.
Because Alex is quite a fan of the Tornado table. And obviously, Sully's home table is Tornado. So it would have been a really good test for Alice, to be honest. But she just never got that chance, unfortunately.
Alice, do you have like, are you like a fangirl? Is there kind of a foosball player you look at and like, I want to be like her?
Kind of. I didn't really want to play her because I wanted to see if I could beat her on Tornado. I think I could beat her on Garlando because obviously Americans aren't very good on that table. But yeah, I did really want to play her. I think she played in the women's though, not the juniors, and I didn't play in the women's in Mercia.
Yeah, if Catty's still watching, she might know about that.
Yeah, because she came 3rd in women's singles, I think.
Wow. So she didn't play juniors at all?
No, I don't think so.
I want to come back to, actually, Alice, we got a question Kat asked earlier. Your experience, because I asked Kat and Yaka this one last time, their experience as a woman in the UK foosball scene, and actually they both guys weren't particularly complimentary because there aren't that many women. What are your experiences? How do you find it?
No, I don't really understand what the question is.
We can't really answer this one for you, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Well, sure. What, like, is it hard or like?
Well, the answer, I mean, you have to say, right? Yaka and Kat just went, there aren't enough women, so we're stuck with the guys. And if you go to Germany, they've just got loads of women play foosball together. Yeah. I mean, when you're friends, when you say, yeah, I'm the UK champion at table football, are your friends like, yeah, look at my nails, or are they actually interested? Sorry, I don't mean to.
Yeah, they're interested. They're like, oh yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing and stuff like that. Yeah, they're interested.
I think it's a very similar kind of mindset to what a lot of our friends had all those years ago, if you know what I mean. Can't believe it, but as soon as Alice starts bringing the trophies home and all the selfies on Facebook of her on the podiums and whatnot, they start taking it a lot more seriously.
Yeah.
And I can understand where you're coming from.
That's the thing for all of us is like, how do you, in my mind, we talk about foosball as a sport, right? And that's, or even foosball as a game, but to most people, foosball is a toy. Right, it's not even a game. It's just a kid's toy. You go to Argos, it's in the toy section. So this whole I didn't know foosball was a thing, and actually telling the story, because what the three of you have just shown is the impact that foosball's had on your lives, the places it's taken you to, in experiences you've had from it. I can't imagine it's not had a massive impact on your lives and your parents as well, right? Talking to Darren, he's so proud. I'm sure Mel the same of what you guys have all achieved, and their involvement in that. So how do we go and tell this story to people? Say foosball isn't a toy. It's like any other sport. It's something that you can just have fantastic life experiences from. And how can we bring more and more people into it? Because the Darlington story, I want to be interviewing in 3 years' time. I want to be interviewing Exeter or Nottingham or Belfast or Glasgow or places, or Hereford. There was foosball in Hereford or Wales, right? Now how do we take this out to 100 towns which are like Darlington and have people like yourselves? Wouldn't that be brilliant? The Germans have got 383 foosball clubs in Germany. I'm going to bang on about that a lot.
That's mad, that, yeah.
We've got some more respect for Darlington. That's from Mike Russell. Mike Russell, what are you saying about you here? Thank you for your help in setting stuff up. Kat also. Respect for Darren. And Rugby is a small town. My family are from Rugby. Kat, we want to get the big scene going in Rugby. More. That's that one. What other comments are there?
It is a shame all the distance, to be honest, that Darlow has from a lot of the other places, because we'd happily travel. Obviously not under the current climate, but if Rugby was like a half an hour drive away or whatever, then there'd be a lot more football going on in the area, if you know what I mean. But obviously distance plays quite a huge role in playability as well.
The conversation I've had had a bit with Darren earlier today, and is, if we want to get people into foosball, in the end, we're not going to be the teachers. We're not the youth centre leaders. We're not the organisers of a club. We need to go and teach the PE teachers or teach the youth club leaders, show them what foosball is, so they can run it themselves. So it's a thing for them to use. Go and find the next Darren Warrs and Mel Oakeses, so that they can go and run fun things for their kids, rather than us having to go ourselves. Because there's only 76 BFA members at the moment. So how do we make it something other people can take and use and have fun with? I just think we've got some other shout outs. Denzel D'Souza has given us a shout out. Preeti Nash, hi Preeti, and Eugen Dumitrescu in Romania. Hi Eugen, also watching. We've got 17 people live at the moment. We've got the final few goals of our big championship match.
Oh, good.
Looking forward to this one, guys. So it's 7-6 to Matty. Let's see what happens next. Let me get the sound on for this. There's the music. It's a weird pin shot. 2-bar pin shot.
Yeah, I think it's something that I did at the time. And kind of worked for the tournament.
It was working really well against me, quite a lot of the time. Callum was hitting the absolute dead man in both corners of my goal. I remember holding my man there and thinking, where is that gap there? But then there must have been a ball-sized gap right in the corner, enough for him to squeeze it in anyway.
I'm going to go back. Look how quick, Matty, your hands are here. This is ridiculous. I saw this one earlier. But that's just bonkers. Quick hands.
I'm not overly pleased about it.
Sorry, Callum. But you're going to block this one, right, and win it? Oh.
No.
There you go. I'll take it away. Thank you to JP Thompson for filming that, and thank you for Callum for. And thank you to Matty as well. That was fun. Oh, hang on, stop. It's doing a bar kick tournament on my other screen. Go away. What else can we talk about, guys? I suppose my last question is how can we inspire other people? How can we just choose one around a bit? How can we have more Darlingtons out there in 5 years' time? What do we need to do?
Yeah, that is a really hard question. I don't think there's any kind of single answer to it. I mean, Darlington is definitely an anomaly, if you know what I mean, like a kind of outlier on the map, because a lot of the football scenes are coming from cities and whatnot. Like you have the different branches in London, don't you? Different clubs in London, and obviously you've got the things going on in Chester and whatnot, all coming from cities and whatnot. But yeah, I don't 100% know, to be honest. Obviously, like you've been saying all night, it comes from a certain degree of interest from both parent and child. Like both obviously have to be interested in it, or otherwise it's not a relationship that's going to work, to be honest. So there's got to be that drive and that motivation there from the kid to think, you know what, I can get good at this. I can really get good at this, and I can make something of it. I mean, it can happen to anyone for anything, really, couldn't it? It could happen for darts or something stupid. Like, I mean, I even call it stupid. But
football, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've just done the thing right there. I've called something else stupid. So it's not though, is it? Because if you end up becoming a world champion at it, it's not so stupid anymore. But yeah, you need that both drive from the kid who wants to kind of make something and go forward with it in the sport, but you also need the commitment from the
time.
Yeah, the commitment, the time from parents as well, willing to put the interest and the commitment and the devotion in to want to see the child thrive, really, to get somewhere and make something of it, a career out of it, if you will. But it goes in all aspects of life, really, doesn't it? If you're not going to put the time and effort in, then you're not really going to achieve anything. And I think that's one of table football's biggest thing, is that a lot of people look at it and think, like they'll come to like a league night in Darlow or something, and they'll see me and Callum, and they'll just think, I'm never going to get that good.
Yeah.
So people aware.
If you go back, right when you started the story, when you did a tournament with, I think Martin Landers, 24 teams, it was a World Cup tournament, right? Everyone's a complete beginner. And actually, your first experience wasn't being destroyed by some pro. It was everyone was beginners, and you had loads of fun. And go back. So how do we make table football not a thing where, you know, who cares about your 5-bar, right? You just come and had a brilliant time. Someone won a medal. I don't care. I just had a fun time, and I want to do that again because that was fun. You know, if any Katy Sabalescu is out there, she talked. I heard her on Foosball radio talking about she saw a foosball table at McDonald's and thought that just looked so much fun. How do we with that sort of innocent thing that got us all into it in the first place, and not scare people away with our snake shots all the time?
We probably have to give the, as you said, we'll probably give the onus to other people to run their own things. I think if we went and did something, I'm going to say we'd ruin it essentially. But if we sort of put, we can't. I think we need to put tables in places where people can just be autonomous with it and do what they like. Obviously, give them the tools to be able to run stuff.
Yeah.
Sort of give them the ideas and the go ahead to be like, right, you could do this. These are these ideas. You could do this once a month. Get people to come down and put prizes in and all that sort of stuff. And I don't think it would hinder us going to like make an appearance or whatever.
Let's say there's a youth centre in Darlington, you know, and that's got 100 kids hanging out on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. And by the way, as we talked about, indoor sports, table football is allowed at the moment, even in Tier 3, right? Under 18 and foosball is a sport. We're recognised by the Sport and Recreation Alliance. You could go and do something with the youth centre leaders right now, and help. I'm actually doing it in next week in one near me. But we don't need to go there every time. We just, you know, sometimes if, you know, world champions turn up, isn't that cool? And by the way, Rob Ather, speaking of world champions, is with us. He's got a message for you, fucking Callum. How to explain that in joke?
Yep, wasn't too bad. Grand scheme. Varna last year, I might have gone in the sea at about 3 a.m.
I'm going to come back to because one of the other people who's popped up here is Nino De Jong. Hi Nino. Also met Nino in Spain. That is in the picture Sam De Jong, who we're talking about unbelievably amazing junior players.
Yeah.
Sam is 12, 13 now, right?
7th in pro doubles or something.
You know, Nino will know John O'Brien, who runs Foosball Clubs USA, and also now the ITSF Education Commissioner. I had a chat with John last week, a long chat about this stuff, right? How do we take foosball out to kids and young people in an organized way and help programs to get going, so that, just like, you know, we talked about Team GB playing Belgium, playing Austria. Wouldn't it be cool if we're talking about the under-18 Darlington playing under-18 Sunderland, playing under-18 Middlesbrough, playing under-18 Hartlepool, using that same format, one game first to 40, and it doesn't really matter how good the kids are as long as they have fun. You know, that's my little light, and I'm kind of leading something. This in a week's time, guys, we're going to have a BFA general meeting on Zoom. So we've got 21 people out there right now. I hope you all hear this. BFA general meeting for BFA people to talk about the future of foosball in the UK. How do we go about doing this? How do we make more people like all of us who get so much out of table football? It's had such an impact in our lives. How do we take this fantastic game and share it and let other people have a great time with it? So that's my little plug for 6 p.m. next Sunday night. Join us on Zoom to figure out what we can all do together. It's kind of it, really. Anything else we want to say in closing from you guys?
Both just pull the same face there. Not on my head. I mean, covered a lot of very valid points. So,
I have one question from Reese. How many other regular players are there in Darlington? And if I say before we close, can we get Danny? Is he around?
I'll go with him.
Yeah, I'll still go with
Okay. So because we've met 3 of our genius junior players, and we've just talked about Sam DeJohn, and I'm looking forward to seeing Nino play Sam play against Danny in about 3 years' time in a Garlando. How's Danny's Garlando game coming on, lads?
Okay, I think he's taken a bit more of a shine into Tornado, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're always kind of pushing him, saying, "No, Danny, you don't want to learn on that. You want to learn on this," just because it's kind of what we did, if you know what I mean. But he's kind of taken a bit more of a shine into Tornado. I think just because of the ease of it, if you know what I mean, like the bigger man and the bit easier to control it and whatnot, and it's heavier, so I think he likes it a bit more.
Hi, Danny.
Let Danny sit there.
You don't have to say it. You just wave at everyone. Danny, we've been talking to Callum and Alice and Matty, and we're talking about the next generation of UK table footballers, and I wanted to just have everyone to see you and say hi.
Oh, hi.
We'll see you on the table. Okay. Want to say anything to everyone?
Hello. Like I've never been on
camera presence.
We'll see you on the table, Danny. In fact, I think we'll see everyone on the table. I'm going to switch off the show in a minute. Thank you very much to everyone. Hour and a half. I'm sorry we went on long. We were having so much fun. So huge thank you to Callum. Huge thank you to Matty. Huge thank you to Alice. Huge thank you to Danny. Also thank you to Darren Warr and to Mel Oakes and everyone at Darlington Table Football Club, who are just a brilliant example to all of us for what the great thing of table football is for all of us. So I'm going to switch off the show. I hopefully see a lot of you in a week's time on Zoom. Message me if you want to join. I'll send you the link. It was in the BFA newsletter recently. We're doing one of these in January. I've got my guest lined up. You don't know who it is yet. I'm working on a plan. But yeah, hope to see you all eventually on the table. Take care, guys. Cheerio.
Cool.
Bye.
Bye.